Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blackshirt Breakdown. My name is Steve Marik. I'm a staff writer at Inside Nebraska, and he is Jay Foreman, our NFL veteran and former Nebraska Blackshirt. Jay, we are back, and this time we are breaking down Keelan Smith, a class of 2024 Nebraska football commit. Jay, a little bit about Keelan Smith, 6'3", around 200 pounds. He's from Liberty North High School in Missouri, a three-star prospect. Really good tape here. And again, he's playing a position. We project that he's going to be playing a position. He's listed as an athlete right now, but what he played at high school, he did a lot of receiver on the outside.
Right.
He did a little bit of H-back tight end next to the offensive tackles too. He kind of looks kind of like Janarin Bonner, what he did this past spring at Nebraska, and maybe what Ishmael Smith Flores, another member of the 2024 class, and is going to project that too as kind of this hybrid wide receiver tight end position. So Jay, when you saw Keelan Smith's name come on in, everybody starts talking about Marcus Satterfield and how he wants to use different tight ends in the offense. Just what were your overall thoughts?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I mean, his pedigree is obviously, you don't find that too often. A Hall of Fame
Yep.
Nebraska player, Neil Smith, on the defensive side of the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously a potential Hall of Fame player at the NFL, with the Kansas City Chiefs, Broncos, and the Chargers. And Neil Smith himself, senior, was a phenomenal athlete, kind of before his time, being 265, 70 pounds, 4'5", 40 and 40-some inch vertical. And I think his son is right along that lineage. I mean, obviously not right now, but I think he's somebody that gets in, Nebraska's weight program and gets in here and gets developed. He's really going to take off. And the one thing I liked about him is that he is an athlete, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's played multiple positions in high school. He's been effective at all of them. And I think this is where, whether it's the college level and maybe the pros, where you can see things going. Because I look at like receivers on the outside. I wouldn't say they're a dime a dozen, but they're pretty, you can kind of find a receiver and kind of overuse him and then kind of blow up his stats. And then, next thing you know, he's just kind of done after college. But guys that are with this height and this size coming out of high school in this frame, right?
Yep.
A lot of times with in his growth potential, and just to see where he's at right now and where he could be in 2 or 3 years is where it's going to go. Because I always say this, the most effective way, if you want to get your offense started, is find, one or two, and in this case, 3 or 4, tight ends or guys that could be X factors, but then attack the middle of the field, right? It's not something that's, sexy to teach, but it's really effective if you want to have an explosive offense. And so, he's a big kid that can run. He's a willing blocker. I think he knows the route tree, really well. And growing up around the NFL game, I think it gives him a step or 1 or 2 steps ahead of incoming other classmates of being ready for the big time moment and knowing what it takes and what it looks like, to go and work and earn your spot.
Yeah, so just a really intriguing pickup right here. And when Marcus Satterfield during spring, we heard him almost every single time he was out there for media availability. He talked about tight ends. He talked about 11 personnel, 12 personnel, 13 personnel. He didn't care. He likes his tight ends, and he's going to put them out there and find ways to use them, whether that's as receivers or blockers. So Keelan Smith, this is just another potential tight end for Nebraska's program to kind of utilize in different ways. Just a little bit about him before we get into the highlights here. His junior year stats, 46 catches, 845 yards, and Jay, you'll like this, 12 touchdowns. That's
Right.
double-digit scoring catches. So, hey, he was the guy. He is the guy at Liberty North High School, and he'll be that again as a senior. But again, just a high usage guy that the coaches, I think, at Liberty North found ways to get the ball in his hands, whether that be, quick short routes like slants, which we're going to see here soon, wide receiver screens, and just let the guy go to work. Give him the ball and let him go to work. And he's a big body who looked hard to tackle.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you see his yards and stuff like that are great, but I think when you think of 12 touchdowns, that's really exciting to me, because that lets you know he knows how to score the ball. And so right here, you see him. He's a big kid. He's out there, way outside the numbers. And, they unfortunately tried to single coverage him. And look, you want to get him in space right here, right? And this is what you like, is the speed to take it to the house, right? And so when you look at it right here, it's obviously thrown into a window here from an offensive side of the ball, right inside the hash, and you don't want it any more closer than to where the I guess it's a blue jay or bird right there, right? So he catches it right here in between the linebacker and the corner, right? And he catches it good. He had the body catch it right there. He tucks it, and here comes the safety right there, and he breaks one tackle, has enough speed, physicality, to outrun some angles here. And then you have guys that have a decent angle, especially number 21 here has an angle to where at least he can make a tackle. But you see him being athletic and get to 0 to 60 very quickly, right? So what I look for when you have a big kid like this or a big potential hybrid type of receiver is how quick can he go, get going. So when he runs this route right here, he comes off, no wasted steps, right? Short slant, catches it right there. He's in third or fourth gear. And right there, once he hits fifth gear, he's outrunning and he has enough power and locomotive speed to break some tackles. So I like it right here from not only him scoring, all right, we're not going to see a lot of highlights of, not non-highlights on his highlight tape, but I'm looking at what potentially he can do, at the next level, at the college level, that aren't coachable things, right? No wasted steps on his routes, the ability to catch the ball, tuck it, and then look for the second and third defender that he has to defeat. This is where I talk about or think his experience of being around, a Hall of Fame type dad, and then also being around the game. It could be as small as him being at training camps, right? Him being at games. He's seen this 2,000 or 3,000 times before and heard it. So when he's going out there and replicating it, it's just in his DNA. And you see him right here, outside again. And I like him being a big kid that can be outside, a good route, right? Get him a little smoke screen, knows how to read his blocks. And I always talk about explosive plays come up the sidelines. And guess what happens? Up the sidelines, it makes one guy miss, house call, right? So normally this is a play that's, you say, okay, we could maybe give up 6, 7, 8 yards, right? They have even numbers out here, right? They actually have it a pretty defense well, except for the number 2 guy. He blocks himself, but there's a free runner right here by the linebacker. Doesn't have the best play entry, but the corner is out here waiting, but he read it really good. He set up his blocks, right? He outruns number 8, the inside defender, and he really set it up on the corner with a good block by the outside receiver because he looked like he was going up the middle. The corner kind of stopped his feet. He got outside, good athletic ability, cut back, make 2 guys miss, and you could just fast forward the tape right here. He's one-on-one with the guy right here with 30 yards of space, and the rest is history. So I like his playmaking ability. I like his athletic ability of doing different things and having a big frame. And, he's doing things as if he's like a 5'9", 5'10", 5'11" receiver. Obviously, he's significantly bigger than that. And that's what I think is appealing to Nebraska. And it's also appealing to Missouri. And so anytime you can beat not only Missouri, which is our old hated rival, or wasn't a rival, but team that we didn't care for too much, but then also a team in the SEC that's an up-and-coming team and a local hometown team. With the new coaching staff here in Nebraska, I think it's almost a double get. And it's really, bodes well to what Coach Rhule and them is doing. But this play here, he's kind of we used to call this a Y-off position, kind of a move position. And you have him do this because you want to create a matchup advantage. But then also when he's off the ball, they can't, play him short and deep as well, right? So you see this defensive back, not the best backpedal here because he's standing straight up. If he didn't do a good scouting report where you have an excellent athlete in front of you, but look how quick he eats up this space, even though it's not a good backpedal. He blew right past the linebacker right there because he got out of his stance so quick. But look right here when he turns his shoulder, good pass right here. But again, catches it and catches it with his hands, right? Tucks it. Again, this is things that you don't see every day, even out of 4 or 5, star receivers. Once he catches the right hand, he knows he hits the sideline. He has enough speed to take it to the house. A big play receiver. It's really good job of these coaches moving around and put him in position to be effective. But also, if he wasn't doing this on a day-to-day basis, game-to-game basis, and obviously continue to grow as a player, they wouldn't be able to do this. But I look at it, how fast can he eat up the space to the second level, right? Then it puts stress on this safety. And then also puts stress on this backside corner, right? Because he has a, actually outside the end read right here. Now it's a good route by here. He gets taken up by the other tight end. But now look at this right here. He catches it right behind him, right? So that lets you know he can catch it in traffic and has good, he can be able his body control, catches it, soon as his feet touch the ground, he's already into full speed. I like what he's able to do, catch it and not lose speed. And what I mean by that is sometimes with that particular catch right there, you'll see a kid make that catch, right? Stumble a little bit and then take more time to get up to full speed. He doesn't really break stride. Look how he catches it right there. As soon as his feet hit the ground, he turns and he's gone. That's what you like right there. When you talk about a home run threat and being able to be an explosive player, these are the things that or at least I would look for if I was a scout or a coach. I'm looking how fast you can go from, first gear to third gear and third to fifth. He can go from 1 to 5 really quick, and he's not losing quickness. So he's not the, say track guy that can't stop and start. He can stop and start, and when he starts, he doesn't lose a lot of speed. So it's another example of his athletic ability and why he is a athlete, because he's able to show his athletic ability, but he's also a playmaker as well.
Jay, do you get an idea of, remember Kyler Reed from back in the day? Is it?
Yeah.
I know similar kind of maybe body type.
Similar body types. I think Kyler was more of a straight line freak, where, big in just straight line, where I think Smith here has more quicks. And an example is it right there, right? When you catch it in and out of his breaks really good. For a man that size or a kid this size, he doesn't play so big where he's looked like he's kind of plodding along. Look at that stride right there. I mean, that's, look, he knows he's gone. He's not even in, this is kind of, look, I'm just going to get to the end zone. He knows you can't catch him right here. Right here, he knows it's touchdown, right? Now, it's good effort by the team in the white, but it's not even close. And that's just getting a little extra points on tape for the team in the white. And so you get him right here. Now, right here is more like an H-back position, right? Now you want somebody to be a willing blocker. Now look what you like here. I like the finish, but more importantly, Steve, what I like right here, once he gets out in space, he knows who he's blocking, right? See how he dropped his hips right there? Got a little pop. Now, granted, it's a little DB, but what I like is he has the fundamentals and footwork to break down and block somebody in space. So when you think, again, portable to Marcus Satterfield and Nebraska offense, being physical on the outside, I think, is a staple of this offense. And look how he's able to drop the hips, explosive, right? And then he finishes the block, right? So that when you think of big running plays that go from, it looks like a 5-yard gain to a 12, 15-yard gain, that's game-changing plays, in my opinion, because that gets you an extra first down, and then it could be potentially flip the field, because if this is ran more kind of at the 40-yard line, either your 40 or their 40, guess what's coming next? House call or potential explosive plays. So these are kind of like the plays I look for in a highlight tape, or like hockey assist, right? You're the first guy that passes, the second guy gets the main assist, but you're the setup guy. So these are the plays that if I was a scout, I'd look for, because I want to see how you play without the ball, right? Everybody that we're gonna do a breakdown of, they're excellent with the ball. From Jaden Doss to Lloyd, to obviously Smith to Bryce, Butler, everybody, they're excellent with the ball. But the biggest thing that I like to see, and I'm sure that these coaches are looking at, what do you do without the ball? Are you as active? Are you a willing blocker? Can you do some of the things that when we are teaching you in, say, group work or developing you in fall camp, that, okay, it's not foreign to you? So you saw it right there in the very last play. Well, that's a good one to end on, right? Because his highlight tape was obviously pretty good. Is his ability to get out in space and block on the edge, right? Because we're talking about explosive plays. Come on the edge, up the sideline, drop his hips, explode into the defender, and then finish. So a lot of times I think when you looked at Nebraska's offense last year or in the years past, they might initially get on the block, especially on the outside, right? When we were talking about, remember everybody was mad when Frost and those guys would run that Maurice Washington screen, and it only worked one time, and then we kept running it. Well, the problem was it was blocked correctly initially, but the ability to continue and finish the blocks, which makes that play effective, wasn't there. So when we're looking at Smith right here, that's something that's very appealing to whether it's McGuire, or the wide receiver coach, or the tight end coach, and more importantly, Marcus Satterfield, how to use him effectively, because the more that you can do without the ball makes you more effective with the ball. And so I think he's obviously been taught that, obviously from his dad and his pedigree, and the coaches at his high school have done a really good job of setting the standard of, okay, you're a really good playmaker, right? but we want to make sure that you're a well-developed player at the high school level, so you're appealing to schools like Missouri and Nebraska. And it's a really good gift for Nebraska because I think he's going to have a really good year next year. Committed pretty early, so it lets you know he really wants to come to Nebraska. And so I think it's good, a good get that they saw, hopefully what we're discussing today, right? Or what I've seen, in his tape, to what they possibly could get. And they're the first ones in line. And that's how you recruit, and that's how you get players, and that's how you develop depth and a pretty explosive roster.
It's going to be really interesting to see how his body develops over time as well, as a senior in high school, and then continuing once he gets into a college program with the weightlifting, the nutrition plan, everything, with that 6'3" frame, what is Keelan Smith going to end up as? Is it like a 220 pound, 225, 230? I don't know. I'm really interested in to see where he ends up. But Jay, if we're talking playing weight, with this, what we think he's going to be projecting at as that hybrid tight end, doing a little bit of receiver, a little bit of tight end, what playing weight would you maybe prefer him at?
I mean, I think at the very end, he doesn't need to be any bigger than 230, 235, even maybe 225. I think the way that he's able to drop his hips and be explosive is he's going to be able to block in space. I mean, if you look at the NFL tight ends, Travis Kelce, he's dropped weight, and as they got George Kittle is not very big. He's muscular, not very big. Gronkowski later in his career trimmed down. Allow these guys to run the routes and be an explosive for 4 quarters, they need to be leaner. And for him, I'm not a big fan of getting them here at 200 pounds, and next thing you know, 6 weeks later, they're 225. I don't think that's the best thing for them. I think it's kind of bring them along as their body allows them to, and then continue to get them bigger, faster, and stronger, and quicker, and explosive. And the next thing you know, you got a grown man out there, at 225, 230, wrecking havoc on the ball, off the ball, and out on the edges. And so that's what I think they have a plan for him. And they've shown that they're able to curtail their weight program and what they view per every single player. And I think that's one of the appealing things to some of these guys that are quote unquote projects, right? So I'm assuming that when they're sitting down, in particular, say if they were recruiting Jay Foreman out of high school, I was 185 pounds, 6'3", 185 pounds, but I have a decent frame. And so they would probably sit down and probably project where I needed to be in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And then 5th year, I kind of know what I'm doing. And then I'm on, I'm fully ready to be, an all conference player. So I think that's what they're doing. And I think that's what'll happen with him. And again, I think his highlights show that he's a well-rounded player. And, Nebraska coaches should be excited when he gets here.
Awesome stuff, Jay, as always. So Keelan Smith, Liberty North High School, 3-star wide receiver, tight end hybrid. I don't know. We'll see what he develops into. But overall, it's just an excellent athlete out of Missouri, and a good son from Neil Smith, an all-time great at Nebraska and Hall of Famer in the NFL. So for Jay Foreman, I am Steve Marik, and that was the Blackshirt Breakdown. We will catch you all later.